Hello, everyone. Welcome to Fast Fluency Academy. I'm your host, Cleevens. In this episode, we are going to study a few collocations with have. Nous dit tout le monde bienvenue sur Fast Fluency Academy. Je dis à nous pour apprendre quelques collocations de have. L'aime dit collocations. Collocations, c'est des groupes de mots qui marchent ensemble, ou soit des expressions qui marchent ensemble. Par exemple, si m'a dit au monde non festival, il était amusé, m'a dit they had a good time at the festival. They went to the festival and they had a good time. We had a good time at the festival. Donc, l'autre dit have a good time, ça veut dire have fun. L'autre dit have fun, ça veut dire enjoy yourself. So if you go to a party and you enjoyed the party, ou capable dire we had a good time at the party. We had a good time at the party. We went to a party and we had a ball. Have a ball, nous t'es capable de say have a ball, B-A-L-L. Même ball qui veut dire ballon. Hein? Si par exemple, on dit we had a good time at the festival, ou pas t'avais dit we had a good time at the festival, ou t'es capable de dire we had fun at the festival. Si ou pas dire we had fun at the festival, ou capable de dire, ça son expression slang, qui veut dire ou t'as amusé, ou c'est we had a ball at the party. We had a ball at the festival. We had a ball at the festival. So we went to the festival. We enjoyed ourselves. We went to the festival. We enjoyed ourselves at the festival. We enjoyed ourselves at the festival. Nous capable ouais m'pa di ourselves, c'est vous capable di ourselves, mais le fait que li nan mi-temps yon phrase donc OUL a pas prononcé our, li prononcé our. Donc au lieu me di ourselves, me di ourselves. We had a good time at the party. We had a good time at the festival. This simply means we enjoyed ourselves. We enjoyed ourselves at the festival. Si m'a pas yon fête, m'a pas di festival, m'a dit we had a good time at the party. We had a good time at the party. We had a good time at the festival. We had a good time at the party. We enjoyed ourselves. Jeff and Sarah went to the party and had a ball. Jeff and Sarah went to the party and had a ball. Jeff and Sarah, yo al nan fête la, yo te bien amusé yo. Okay? They had a ball. They had a ball, ça veut dire they had a good time. Ça veut dire they had fun at the party. L'autre collocation qui marche ensemble avec have, c'est fête. Donc, soit dit que, et pour wap dit so and so internet la font fête, wap dit have a party. Have a party. Have a swim. Donc, log have plus yon activité, ça veut dire que ou fait activité. You do an activity or you attend an activity. For example, we had a swim. We had a swim in the lake. Nous te nager dans la mer. Dans lac là. We had a swim in the lake. Nous te nager dans lac là. We had a swim at the beach. Nous te nager dans plage là. So have a party simply veut dire faire yon fête. They had a party on Saturday. They had a party on Saturday. Again, they had a party on Saturday. Yon nan point que m'vle nou souligner. Ouais m'a regardé mot ça, m'di Saturday, Saturday. Et raison qui fait que moi conseille au monde rentrer en contact avec nous pour capable participer dans Fast Fluency Academy parce que ça lié. Nous enseignons prononciation à la base, nous enseignons phonétique à la base. Ou pas ka gagner moi dans Fast Fluency Academy pour pas ka chercher comment yon mot prononcer pour compte. Nous bon garanti ça. Ou ap commencer par l'anglais sous 30 premiers jours yo. Nous gen des directions que n'a ba ou, des poursuivre yo et nous gen preuve que suivre direction ça yo. Ou pas parler anglais nous bon garanti n'a rembourser yo. Let's get back to business. Let's get back to business, c'est comme si me dit revenons à nos moutons. Jean que nous kon dit revenons à nos moutons. Let's get back to business. They had a party on Saturday. They had a party on Saturday. Yo te fait en fête samedi. Okay, they had a party. Ou pas dit they made a party ou bien they did a party, mon dit they had a party. Si m'pa vle di have a party, gon l'autre expression qui commen tout c'est throw a party. THROW. Throw, to throw a party. Si m'pa vle di have a party, m'kapab di throw a party. Si m'pa vle di they had a party on Saturday, m'kapab di they threw a party on Saturday. Listen and repeat. Have a good time. Have a good time. Have a good time. Have fun. Very good. Again, this collocation means to enjoy yourself. We had a good time at the festival. We had a good time at the festival. Kounyam da utiliser have a good time dans phrase m'attendez yo. Good job. We had a good time at the festival. We had a good time at the festival. We had a good time at the festival. This collocation means to attend or do an activity, have a party, have a swim. Donc, l'homme dit have plus une activité, donc m'te fait activité. Par exemple, si m'a dit que pour anniversaire, moi pas de fait fête, m'ka dit, I didn't have a party on my birthday. I didn't have a party on my birthday. I did not have a party on my birthday. Ou bien m'te ka dit tout, I didn't have a party for my birthday. M'te ka dit, m'bat fè fête jour anniversaire, m'bat fè fête pour anniversaire. I didn't have a party for my birthday. I didn't have a party on my birthday. I stayed home. I worked. Did you have a party on your birthday or did you have a party for your birthday? No, I didn't have a party for my birthday. I stayed home and studied. I stayed home and worked. I stayed home and worked. I stayed home and studied. Instead of me having a party for my birthday, I stayed home and worked. I stayed home and studied. M'di au lieu que m'ta fait une fête, jou fête moi, m'te été là quand même pour m'travailler ou bien m'te été là quand même pour m'étudier. Very good. Let's continue. OK, kounya là nous pral apprendre collocations qui gen pour avec manger. Have lunch. Have lunch. Have breakfast. Have a meal. Again, have lunch. Good job. Have breakfast. Good job. Have a meal. So this collocation means to eat lunch. Example, I had lunch with my coworkers. I had lunch with my coworkers. Again, I had lunch with my coworkers. To have lunch simply means to eat lunch. To have breakfast simply means to eat breakfast. Have a meal simply means to eat a meal. As simple as that. So when you say you have a meal, this collocation means to eat any meal. It doesn't have to be something specific. Donc, collocation ça gen rapport avec manger. Ouais, il dit, titre dit meal related collocations. Meal related collocations. C'est pas collocations, mais plutôt c'est collocations. Collocations. Again, have lunch. Have breakfast. Have a meal. I had lunch with my coworkers. I didn't have breakfast this morning because I was running late. I didn't have breakfast this morning because I was running late. M'bat manger matin, m'bat prendre déjeuner matin parce que m'étais en retard. I didn't have time to have lunch this afternoon. I didn't have time to have lunch this afternoon because I was late. Okay, I was late. Et m'bat gen temps prendre lunch moi parce que m'étais en retard. I didn't have time to have lunch this afternoon. I was late, right? I didn't have a meal this morning, but I will certainly do so tonight. I didn't have any meal this morning, but I will certainly do so tonight. I didn't have breakfast this morning, but I will certainly have lunch this afternoon. I didn't have breakfast this morning, but I will definitely have lunch this afternoon. Ouais, m'di, I didn't have breakfast this morning, but I will definitely have lunch this afternoon. Nou jan li, donc l'homme dit have lunch, c'est ça simplement veut dire eat lunch. L'homme dit have breakfast, ça simplement dit eat breakfast. L'homme dit have a meal, it does not mean that I possess a meal, but it means to eat a meal. L'homme dit to have a meal, ça pas veut dire que me posséder manger, mais plutôt c'est manger. Very good. Listen and repeat. Have lunch. Good job. Have breakfast. C'est pas breakfast, c'est breakfast. Et c'est pas breakfast, mais c'est breakfast. Data, breakfast. Again, this collocation means to eat breakfast. So to have breakfast is to eat breakfast. To have a meal is to eat a meal. To have lunch is to eat lunch. Very good. Let's continue. Kounya nou pale nan rest and relaxation. Again, rest and relaxation. Mdi have a nap. E ou pa kan gonti dormi ou ki anvi pon di abo wal fon ti kabisha. E me lo ap di kabisha en anglais. Ou di have a nap. Sou pa vle di have a nap ou kapab di tou take a nap. Take a nap li ka plus commun en anglais britannique. Mais sou dit take a nap, it's all good. There's nothing wrong with saying take a nap. Have a nap. To have a nap is to sleep for a short period of time during the day. So when you sleep for a short period during the day, this is a nap. She had a nap after school. She had a nap after school. When she came back from school, she was so sleepy she had to take a nap. When she came back from school, she was so sleepy that she had to take a nap or she had to have a nap. So to have a nap is to sleep for a short period. Okay? To sleep for a short period during the day. Have a rest. Lord's boile font ti reposo, say have a rest. Okay? Have a rest. You need to have a rest. You look very tired. Okay? Your face exudes a lot of fatigue. You need to have a rest. Your face exudes a lot of fatigue. You need to have a rest. You need to have a rest. Ou dit you need to have, c'est réduction que fait. Réduction que fait. Donc, moi, gon live que ma face à côté que nous pourrons parler de common reductions in American English. So, branchez live là sur Facebook, ou nous pourrons parler sur ça. Côté que nan place, pour qui ça fait yon moun dit wanna, au lieu de want to, pour qui ça yon moun dit gonna, au lieu de going to, pour qui ça yon moun dit gotta, au lieu de got to, pour qui ça yon moun dit oughta, au lieu de ought to. Donc, tout ça que n'a pas apprendre ensemble. Listen and repeat. Tendez répéter. Have a nap. 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 Again, this collocation means to sleep for a short period during the day. Lè n'a dit period en anglais, nous dit period. Period. C'est pas period, non, c'est period. 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 Da. Period. 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 Vini nan Fast Fluency Academy pour capable ranger bouchou. Communication collocations. Have a chat. This collocation means to talk informally. They had a chat about the project. They had a chat about the project. They had a chat about the project. Again, they had a chat about the project. They had a chat about the project. Nou an anglais il me dit, they had a chat about the project. They had a chat about the project. So when you have a chat is when you have a talk. A chat is an informal talk, right? It's an informal talk. So they have a chat about the project. They discuss the project, okay? They discuss the project informally. They talked about the project in an informal way. They talked about the project in an informal way. Okay, have an argument. Okay, let's go. Have an argument. Have an argument. This collocation means to disagree verbally. So when two people have when two people have an argument, they disagree verbally. They disagreed. So they had an argument. Everyone could see that they were arguing. So let's say yon moun have an argument, you te font dispute. Tout moun ki kapab wè ki yo tap dispute. Dans contexte pa nou toujours dit discussion, mais dispute c'est lorsque gen désaccord. So when there's disagreement, it's an argument. They had an argument. So they had an argument. Donc yo pas d'accord et puis yo tap parlé sou ça. And we also have a conversation. Have a conversation. Listen and repeat. Conversation. Da. Parce que ça gen en anglais. Et c'est toute langue, mais dans le contexte n'a pas les qu'on a, c'est l'anglais, donc n'a prêté dans l'anglais. Moyo gen sa kenele stress. Gen primary stress. Gen secondary stress. Donc, ou l'on prend yon mot tant que communication. Gen communication. Da. Communication. Accent primaire la sa que nous le primary stress lan li tombe sous K parce que c'est le levé voix. Lem gen mot tant que collocation, ouais, da. Lem gen mot tant que informally. Da. Informally. Example, da. Okay, about, da. Project, da. Argument, da. Est-ce que nous allons? Disagree, da. Disagree. Verbally, da. Conversation. Da. Donc, l'important pour capable prêter attention avec gens que nous prononçons. Parce que gens prononcés comme ça, je à pied. OK? Soit habitué ou attendre des bonnes prononciations qui doit capable comprendre, mais faut soit attendre à tout faut capable reproduire. Again, have a chat. They had a chat about the project. They had a chat about the project. Argument. They had an argument about the game. They had an argument about the game. Or they had an argument over losing the game. They had an argument over losing the game. Dans l'équipe la perdu et puis ils te font dispute. OK, ils te gon ti parlant pile. Very good. Let's continue. Health related collocations. Et donc colocation ça a rapport avec santé. Have a headache. So if you say you have a headache, this doesn't mean you possess a headache, but this simply means you have a headache. That means you are suffering from a headache. You're suffering from a headache. Have a cold. This collocation describes having a common illness. So Lodzi have a headache. It means have a pain. Okay, you have a pain in your head. And you say have a cold, it simply means you have a common illness. Ou enrhumé. So abdi ou enrhumé en anglais, ou abdi I have a cold. So abdi m'pas vin travail parce que m'te enrhumé. Ou abdi I didn't go to work because I had a cold. Or I was down with a cold. I was down with a cold. I didn't go to work today because I was sick with a cold. I was down with a cold. I had a cold. I couldn't go to work this morning because I had a cold. Have a fever. Logon fièvre, ou ka di have a fever. Dans anglais britannique, ou attendre que have a temperature, qui c'est même bagay. So this collocation describes elevated body temperature. So if your body is warm, if your body is warm, if your body is hot, very hot, steaming hot, you have a fever or you have a temperature. She couldn't come to class this morning because she had a fever. She couldn't come to class this morning because she had a fever. Okay, she had a fever. She couldn't come to class this morning because she had a fever. Fever. Li important pour focus sur ça que nous li a stress. Primary stress, c'est primary stress en lui-même. Léon syllabe bien primary stress, c'est le qui pi wo. Et même si m'a dit comprendre en anglais, m'pa pas dit understand, mais plutôt m'a dit understand. Da. Si m'a dit ordinateur en anglais qui c'est computer, m'pa pas dit computer. M'a dit computer. Da. Si m'a dit ordinateur portable ou laptop en anglais, m'pa pas dit laptop, mais m'a dit laptop. Really? Dada, laptop. Si m'a dit téléphone cellulaire en anglais, m'a dit cell phone. Si m'a dit télévision en anglais, m'a pas dit television. Non. M'a dit television. Da. Television. Donc, l'important pour capable suivre nous, venir dans Fast Fluency Academy ou pas regret de venir dans Fast Fluency Academy. I had a headache after the loud concert. Ouais, I had a headache after the loud concert. When m'a dit concert, m'a dit concert. M'a dit headache, m'a dit headache. M'a dit after, m'a dit after. Donc, l'important pour nous pratiquer ça que nous relais primary stress avec secondary stress. Now, let's practice. Practicing collocations. First thing, you need to learn collocations. Study the collocation patterns. Modèle la fon suivre. Second, review. Reinforce your knowledge. Let me dire reinforce your knowledge. C'est comme si sorte connaît ou étudier pour capable solidifier. Rendre connaît sort apprendre dans une plus solide comme si pour le retenir en tête. Practice. Use collocations in sentences. Use collocations in sentences. I'm capable de sentences. I'm capable de sentences. I'm capable de tout sentences. Again, m'ka di, si m'pa vle di sentences, m'ka di sentences. Si m'pa vle di sentences, m'ka di sentences. Donc, yon grain mot en anglais capable gen plusieurs prononciations. Après ça, nous devons parler, speak. Use collocations in conversation. Ouais, use collocations in conversation. Ouais, li m'di, use collocations in conversation. Not only should you use collocations in sentences, you also should use collocations in conversation. Wejamzili, not only should you use collocations in sentences, you must use collocations in conversation. You must use collocations in conversation. You need to study the collocation patterns. Again, you need to study the collocation patterns. You need to practice, use collocations in sentences, reinforce your knowledge, and use collocations in conversation. Donc, ça, extrêmement important. So, kounya nou pral pratike sa yo, listen and repeat. Have a good time. Have fun. Have a party. Have a swim. Enjoy yourself or do an activity. Donc, dans collocation categories, nou kapab gen category activities, meals, rest, communication, and health. Meals, have lunch, have breakfast, have a meal. Tout ça simplement veut dire manger, eat. L'autre dit have lunch, ça veut dire eat lunch. Have breakfast, c'est eat breakfast. Have a meal, c'est eat a meal. Rest. Have a nap, have a rest. Relax or sleep. And communication. Have a chat. Have an argument. Have a conversation. Communicate or disagree. Health. M'di health. Health. Sou di health, ya kompren nou. Mais on da di health. The tip of your tongue between your teeth. Health. Have a headache. Have a cold. Describe health conditions. 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 Okay, with that being said, guys, I think it's time for us to wrap up. Let me do wrap up in the context I did to finish. Okay, it's time to wrap up. It's time to finish. Let's call it a day. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Follow our Facebook page. Invite yon moun abonner. Suive nous sur Facebook. Abonner à page YouTube nous. Suive nous sur TikTok. Fast Fluency Academy. Ou pas regret.